Let me know where you're coming from in the comment box. I appreciate all the feedback, and it was a lot to talk about with Alabama just beating Texas A&M and Georgia going down to South Carolina. I couldn't believe that one. LSU and Florida. There's a lot of college football, obviously, with Oklahoma and Texas, and the way that Jalen Hurts played. Oklahoma's still unbeaten, and if you look at their schedule, who are they going to lose to, right? So now the college football playoff picture. We can start talking about it a little bit. It's probably way too early, but it's fun to talk about, and we'll talk about that later on the show. I'll take your calls tonight, 205-686-3604. Hold up on the calls just a minute. I like to go through the stats. I'm a big stat guy. What up? See ya, B. Jared Football. I see you, man, and we will look at the stats. I'll take your calls, and we'll have some fun with it tonight. Show is powered by Voodoo Wings, but of course, we would love for you to become a premium subscriber at BamaInsider.com. Go to the website. Look for the free 30 days and hit me up, Kyle, at BamaInsider.com if you have any subscription questions. Feeling good, feeling wonderful. Had a great Sunday. People keep asking me about Antonio Alfano. I'll answer that right now. I mean, it's the strangest situation. According to Nick Saban, he basically quit on the team. That's really all we know. Is he officially in the transfer portal? No, he's not. That's the other strange thing. So, until we hear more from the head man, we got to go with what Nick Saban says. And based on that, he's just quit on the team. So hopefully things work out for the kid. I thought he had some talent. Don't think he's going to play this year, but maybe he would have played in the future. One guy that is playing well, and we'll talk about him later on the show, is Christian Barmore. Christian Barmore having a fantastic showing yesterday. And I think the more that he gets on the field, the better. Let's look at these stats real quick, and then I'll take your calls, and then we'll go from there, all right? So here's the stats overall. Alabama, 47. Texas A&M, 28. As you know, Tua Tagovailoa dazzled once again, 21 for 34, 293 yards, 4 touchdowns. Finally threw that interception. No big deal. Rating still 167.1. It was the first time his rating was under 200 for the entire season. Najee Harris, 20 attempts, 114 yards. No touchdowns, averaging 5.7 per carry. Brian Robinson, 10 carries, 51 yards, 5.1 yards average on his attempt. And then Deontay Smith caught 7 receptions for 99 yards with a touchdown. Jerry Jeudy, 4 receptions, 50 yards. Jalen Waddle, 3 receptions, 48 yards. Najee Harris, 3 receptions, 19 yards. Get this, Jalen Waddle only touched the football 16 times yesterday and had nearly 200 yards of all-purpose offense. I think obviously he's a guy that needs the football more going forward. Glad to see him have his breakout day in Texas, where he's from. He's from the Houston area, so goes to College Station, balls out, no surprise. Kellen Mond on the day. Check those numbers out. 24, 42, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, had 90 yards rushing. Kid's a baller, right? He did this to Alabama last year. They had a lot of yards. Nick Saban wanted to control him, force him to throw from the pocket. He did that for the most of the night. However, Mond's going to get his. He's not the most efficient quarterback throwing-wise, but I think he, obviously, the numbers speak for himself, right? Let's look at the defensive numbers. Let me slide that down for you. Anthony Jennings continues to have a big season, 8 total tackles. He was looking eager to get after Munn, right? How many times did he jump off sides yesterday? Big man had 6 solo tackles and 1 quarterback sack. Him and Terrell Lewis now have 4 sacks apiece, which lead Alabama. Let's talk about Terrell Lewis just a little bit. Fantastic game by him. Nick Saban said after the game that he is one guy who's finally healthy. And I think that may be the biggest news of this game is the health of Terrell Lewis. If he is healthy, he's a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. He can get after the quarterback. He had 2 quarterback hurries, 2 sacks. The way that he plays going forward. Can you imagine if Anthony Jennings and Terrell Lewis are coming after Joe Burrow on that game against LSU? That could play the whole role in the game. So those guys playing well, very important for Alabama. Christian Barmore, as we talked about, had another quarterback sack. I thought Shaheem Carter played really well. 7 tackles. He made a couple open field tackles. Shane Lee up there in the tackles as well. 8 total tackles. Let's look at some more stats for you. See if I can get past that. And give me a second as we continue to work through these stats. And let's see what else I have. There's a scoring drive. Now, this is the overall stats after 6 games. So Najee Harris has 465 yards up top. Brian Robinson, 259 yards. As you can see, he has 3 touchdowns to Najee Harris. Only has 1 touchdown rushing. Tua Tagovailoa on the season. Efficiency rating of 214, which is fantastic. 73.6%, 2,011 yards, 27 touchdowns, only 1 interception, longest of 81. Averaging 335 per game, just completely balling out. Jerry Jeudy, 42 receptions already. Incredible season. 538 yards, 6 touchdowns. Devontae Smith, 38 receptions, 636 yards with 9 touchdowns. Henry Ruggs, 18 receptions, 394 yards with 5 touchdowns. And then up to your top right, that's Jalen Waddle, 12 punt returns, 267 yards. It seems like he's going to break a touchdown one of these days, right? It's like almost like every single time he almost gets a penalty. There's some sort of penalty. Or, I mean, in this case, against Texas A&M, it was the punter who kept taking him down. Trayvon Diggs has 2 interceptions, which leads the team. Henry Ruggs has 6 kick returns for 172 yards. And let's look at some more defensive stats if I can get them. I'm kind of having some errors going through the stats. Not sure what's up. But I will now take your calls. I'll open the line. Give me a call. I want to catch up with you. 205-686-3604 is the number to call in. I want to talk to you about this team overall, where you see this team. I want to get your top 4 in college football. I want you to post that in the comment box. I want to hear from you in regards to Christian Barmore. Do you think he should be maybe starting more? Should we see him playing more? I mean, it looks like we should. I mean, he's doing a great job. Sam, I see you on the comment box. I think the penalties were absurd. I mean, 11 penalties, which was a season high. And, I mean, you got to clean those up. You got to clean up the penalties because those penalties will kill you. Call line is open, 205-686-3604. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I think when we look at this team, we know this. We know the offense is going to score theirs. I mean, they're still averaging 51 points per game. We got our first call of the night. Hey, what's going on? It's Kyle Henderson. You're on the line. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling from?
What's up, Kyle? It's CFB Jared.
How you doing, man? Good to hear from you. How's your night tonight, man?
Sorry, say it again?
How's your night tonight?
I was doing well. How about you?
It's going great. Thank you very much. What's on your mind, man?
Well, looking at the way our pass rush was yesterday, I'm really excited, Like, of course, Barmore, he played, he got that 1 sack, and in limited playing time, he's looked really nice, but he, did make another mistake, and I noticed once that he just totally left his gap, and that allowed Mon to scramble for like 30 yards. So I don't know if he'll get more playing time, because he just made another mistake and doesn't seem to be improving on those like little things.
Mm-hmm.
But when he does, our D-line will be real nasty when he gets some playing time.
Yeah, I think, the big positive from yesterday was the fact that the defense, I think, really took a step forward. Now, I knew that Kellen Mond was going to get his yards, but I was really glad to see that Terrell Lewis was able to get to the quarterback. I think that's so important for the Crimson Tide going forward. What are your thoughts on the secondary overall and your thoughts on how they played? Because I thought even though they did allow some yards, I think we continue to see guys like Trayvon Diggs and Patrick Surtain play at a very high level.
Yeah, I really like our secondary. I believe they're like top 10 or top 15 in the country. That was like a week ago that I checked on the stats, so it may have changed, but they're playing real well. I really like how McKinney and Diggs are doing, and especially Surtain. We've seen some improvement from him from his freshman year. So I really like how they played. Definitely think next year we'll probably lose. What is it, four of those guys?
I mean, it could be. I mean, you could be losing, let's count them. You could be losing Jared Maiden. You could be losing Xavier McKinney, Trayvon Diggs, Patrick Surtain returns, Shaheem Carter, is now a senior. So, I mean, a lot of those guys are going to be stepping out of the program. So you're going to have a youthful secondary, but it's good to see that a guy like Jordan Battle is getting so much playing time. I mean, he's only a freshman. He's one of these 8. Alabama started this season, 8 freshmen, Jordan Battle being one of them. So Jordan Battle is getting a lot of reps. So you're going to have him and Surtain being kind of the staples of the secondary next year.
Yeah, Battle, Surtain. I wonder if Josh Jobe will get any playing time. Because I
Oh
know like
yeah,
Spina.
absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a good one. Good find on him. I mean, he's he started at the beginning of the season, and I think he's a guy that will contribute probably later on. I mean, he's contributing now. He's playing a lot now, so definitely he'll be the starting corner next year. You got to think with Sertan.
Yeah, I think especially like good right now. Of course, it's not like elite like we're kind of used to,
Mm-hmm.
but right now they're good. I definitely think next year it'll be back to up to what it should be. In like the elite category. Just because all the youth that we have right now, they're going to continue to improve over and over. The years, and it's going to be real nice to watch them. Next year and the year after.
Any particular area, why have you on the line that you still are concerned with going forward as we get to this back end of Alabama's difficult schedule? You have Tennessee, you have Auburn, you have LSU, obviously the game that everybody's anticipating. But any sort of glaring concern that you have regarding Alabama football as we move forward?
I would say probably Shane Lee and Christian Harris. I know Shane Lee, he definitely has the talent to do. He's real good, but he's a freshman and he's made a lot of freshman mistakes on missed coverages and whatnot. And then I didn't watch like the first 5 minutes of the game, so I don't know if Markel Benton started for Christian Harris, but I definitely did see Benton in there a lot for Christian Harris. And of course, Christian Harris is real good as well, but he's still making those freshman mistakes. And of course, that'll improve over experience, but we kind of need to clean those up as quick as we can.
No, I think you're right. I think Christian Harris is probably the biggest vulnerability when you look at the defense. And you're starting to see, a couple weeks ago against South Carolina when Alabama, not in trouble, but they were trying to figure out what was going on. They subbed in Ali Cajo, and then this time when Texas A&M really drove right down the field on Alabama, it was a long, commanding drive. They put in Markel Benton. It looks like Christian Harris is going to be the starter, but it looks like they're trying to figure out if other guys can really step up to contribute for this defense. I got to move on to another call, but I appreciate you calling in. Thanks for calling in. Please call again next time. Take it easy, buddy. All right, call-in line is open, 205-686-3604. Want to hear from you. Want to talk about this Alabama team going forward and, get your take on the Crimson Tide now that they are 6-0. There's a lot of 6-0 teams out there. Is Alabama the best team? LSU made a big statement last night by beating Florida by 2 touchdowns. Thought it was a very good game. I thought Joe Burrow did a great job. I think LSU has very dangerous running backs. I think they hit the hole very hard. I think their wide receivers are very good. I think their secondary is very good. I know Ohio State was open this week. Justin Fields and J.K. Dobbins, they have a very solid team as well. All right, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Hi, Kyle. This is Neil from Hoover, Alabama.
All right, Neil. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good, pretty good. Before I get to football, I'd like to mention that we've got an Amber Alert here in the Birmingham area for a 3-year-old child that was abducted in the Avondale area by a black man and a white woman. The little girl's black, and they escaped in a Toyota Sequoia SUV. It's blue with gray trim. So I just wanted to, it's pretty important. If you see anything, if you see a car like that, please call 911. So, but anyway, to the game. I think our offense is clicking on all cylinders, but my concern is that if Tua throws an interception or we don't score on a possession, that the defense is not going to be able to sustain when we play somebody like LSU.
Yeah, I think, first of all, getting to your first point, I think I appreciate you bringing that up. Of course, living here in Tuscaloosa is very scary stuff. And, children are obviously very important. I have 2 kids of my own. So, my heart and prayers with the family. So hopefully, things turn out for the positive. So thanks for mentioning that. I think when you look at this team overall, I think the Achilles heel is the health of Tua, but the way that Tua has played, the way that he continues to demonstrate his efficiency under Steve Sarkisian. Like Tua said in his post-game press conference, you got to stop this team, and the way that they are, how he continues to connect with his wide receivers across the middle of the field. We haven't. It's nothing complicated, but if Tua can see the defense, if these wide receivers are open, I mean, who's going to stop them in college football? I mean, could it be LSU? I think that could be a great matchup just because LSU has very good defensive backs. I mean, Grant Delpit, one of the best in college football, did a great job last night. I mean, but I still don't think that anyone can stop Alabama when you look at all the defenses of college football.
I agree with that. That concerns me, though, if we do have a misstep or something on offense, that the defense may be our Achilles heel and all the injuries may catch up with us. Although I think the young guys are playing good. I think they're playing their heart out and doing their best. And if we continue to improve, we may have a championship team.
Yeah, I mean, it's so early. I mean, this is all rat poison talk when we were talking about LSU versus, Alabama. I mean, the next team up is Tennessee. And I don't know if you saw, Neil, but Alabama is favored by 35.5 points against Tennessee. I mean, welcome home, Jeremy Pruitt, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that sounds like
points.
rat poison. They played pretty good against Mississippi State. So
it seems like Tennessee is trending. Because they started out in the dumpster and now they're like trying to climb out. I mean, beating Mississippi State, that's probably, that's their marquee win. I know they got ahead of Georgia for a little bit. Let me ask you this. What were your thoughts when you saw Georgia going down? Were you shocked? I mean, because it seemed to me that Georgia was going to be one of the last teams standing and really be in front of Alabama. But, I mean, and they still very well could, but I just can't believe they lost to South Carolina, not even to Helinski, but to the third-string quarterback.
Exactly. I thought that South Carolina really took it to them on the line of scrimmage, really on both sides of the ball. I don't know if I think Georgia has a little bit of overconfidence problem. I don't know why, but I think they're a little overconfident because they have so many five-star players maybe. I'm not sure, but South Carolina, they took it to them especially on the line of scrimmage. They just defensively, I mean, they stopped Swift and did what they had to do. I mean, but then the third string quarterback, I mean, he really didn't know what to do.
He wasn't a quarterback. I mean, he was just out there kind of just running the plays. I think they didn't even have a third string quarterback. I think because I do like Helinski. I think we all have respect for him just considering the fact that he threw for over 300 yards against Alabama. But I really can't believe that Georgia lost. But I think it goes to show any given Saturday, anyone is beatable, especially at home. I never would have thought that they would have lost to South Carolina, number one, and then losing in Athens, number two. Neil, when we look at this defense, how happy were you to see the play of Terrell Lewis? I mean, I think, if Alabama can get him 100%, I think that changes things for this defense going forward.
Yeah, I think him and Jennings on the ends are starting to gel, and I think Lewis I think he's been hurt a little bit. I tried to get in, and when I thought I saw him pull his leg, he jumped up to try to block a pass, and he came down on it funny. I forget which game that was. So I think he's been kind of limpy. So I think he's getting well, and hopefully, things will start gelling. Do you know when Ray's coming back?
That's a good question, and that would be something that we can follow up with Nick Saban on. I think, he said it should be, he didn't say that he's out indefinitely for the season. It could be the later part of the season, but I mean, sometimes I'm confused by this. A lot of fans would like to see a 70% health player come back to replace a 100% player who's been playing all year. For example, would you want someone like a LeBron Ray to come back at 80% health when you have maybe a Christian Barmore who looks to be playing through the roof to maybe get more reps? It's something to think about. But I mean, you can't substitute experience like Nick Saban has said before. But it is good to see a guy like Christian Barmore really playing angry, getting to the quarterback. I think, Raekwon Davis, he's been doing a great job stuffing the run, but Alabama needs somebody on the defensive line that can get to the quarterback.
Do you know why Barmore doesn't play more than he does? Is he still in the doghouse?
I mean, that's a good question. I think that he's, if he was in the doghouse or if, there was some sort of learning curve, whatever the case may be. I mean, I saw a lot of, immaturity from him last season, even at practice. And he just kind of get his head down. But it looks like he's really starting to blossom and be the player that we all expected him to be. And I think that's important. Not only during the middle of the season, but with Raekwon Davis soon to exit the program, you're going to need a big bad boy to really step up and be that dominating defensive lineman that Alabama desperately needs.
Absolutely. I was glad to see that we started to get the running game going a little too. So.
All right, Neil. Well, I got to run to the next call, but I
Thank
appreciate you
man.
calling in. Yeah, thank you so much for calling in. Please call again.
Roll Tide.
All right,
Bye.
thank you so much. All right, call line is open, 205-686-3604. I want to hear from you. Get your take on the Crimson Tide. Alabama will take on Tennessee this coming Saturday. Game, if you saw it, is at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. for this next game. That's a late one. Here we go, another call. Hello, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Thanks for calling. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling from? Hello? Hello? All right, missed the call. Call in again. 205-686-3604 is the number to call in. All right, here we go. All right. Hello, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Thanks for calling. Well, who am I on the line with and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is David from Halton, Louisiana.
All right. How you doing, David? Good to hear from you tonight.
Oh, yeah, you too, brother. I'm glad you're on. I'm doing pretty good. Just enjoying this cool weather over here. Enjoyed the game this weekend. Actually, enjoyed a few games this weekend. I can't believe Georgia got punched in the mouth by South Carolina, but, you know, it's just like you said earlier, any given Saturday or any given Sunday or no matter what day you're playing, anything can happen. You know, you're not playing cupcake teams anymore. You're in the big conference of the SEC, and anything can happen, you know, on that. But as far as the game Saturday, I really enjoyed how Tua took control. A lot of people I know, they're Alabama fans, was kind of, you know, talking about how Tua got in Judy's face, you know, and, you know, I'm kind of glad, you know, he did in a way, you know. I mean, for the simple fact that he is the leader of the team, you know, and Judy didn't run his route correctly, or maybe Judy just didn't understand the route properly, maybe. And, you know, Tua had done what he had to do. You know, defensively, we done really good from what I could tell on stopping the run. Pass-wise, you know, there were some plays that got out of hand, you know, but overall, I think we done really, really, you know, Bama done really, really well. As far as the LSU game, I know this is about Bama, but, you know, that was a very interesting game, you know, for a young quarterback who's, from what I understand and gather, that this is his first year as a starting quarterback since Franks went down. Performed very, very, very good against LSU. I know their LSU defense is kind of lacking this year in some aspects, but for him to throw for over 300 yards against LSU in Death Valley and stay composed pretty well in Death Valley, I just can't wait till November the 9th whenever LSU has to come down there to Paddletown, USA, and deal with that atmosphere, and then deal with a veteran wide receiver core from Alabama as well as a veteran quarterback who can play under pressure just as well as anybody else in the country.
Yeah, I think you bring up some good points. I mean, considering the fact that Florida went to Baton Rouge in front of that atmosphere. I mean, we've talked about it before. I mean, that's probably one of the best atmospheres in all of college football. And Florida fared well. I mean, the score was 28-28 for a while. I thought Florida, they have a really good defense, very good wide receivers, very good tight ends. LSU has very good secondary players. Joe Burrow did a great job. LSU pulls out the 2-touchdown win. Vegas knew they were spot on. The spread was 13.5. I mean, it's amazing how they do that week after week. LSU, you know, has a ton of weapons on both sides of the football. Orgeron is, you know, coaching his tail off. Alabama on the other side, you know, they continue to do what they're going to do. Tennessee and Arkansas are next for Alabama. Those, you can't let either of those games be a trap game. I know fans are looking forward to Alabama and LSU, and rightfully so. I am as well. But Tennessee is up next. When you look at Tennessee, it looks like they are trending a little bit upward. Jeremy Pruitt knows the system. He's coached against Nick Saban before. He's coached under Nick Saban. He's from Alabama. The spread, though, I was really surprised to see 35.5 points. I don't know if Alabama would cover. I'm sure a lot of people are going to take Tennessee, but I'm sure on the other side, a lot of people are going to be buying cigars, if not already have their cigars in hand, headed to Bryant-Denny Stadium to see that light show.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be an interesting game between Tennessee and Alabama. It's something, that Alabama could go undefeated and Tennessee could be 0-6 coming into the matchup, and they seem to find ways to give Alabama fits sometimes. If you look back over the history in the past several years, before we got Tua and, a lot of these top receivers that we have, Tennessee, remember the field goal with Terrence Trick.
All right. I think we lost the call. So that was Dave from Louisiana. Sorry about that. Call line is open, though, 205-686-3604. Not sure what happened. Sorry about that, Dave. Call line is open, 205-686-3604. It's going to be on everybody's mind, right? Everybody is just talking about Alabama versus LSU, but the next game is Alabama versus Tennessee. Is there any way that Tennessee challenges Alabama? Probably not. Vegas already putting the game at 35 points, if you can believe it. I actually had created this graphic, and I want to get your take on it. Here's my college football playoff tree right now. We got DJ in Ohio calling in. All right. Hello, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is DJ from Ohio.
Hey, DJ, hold on real quick while I talk about these college football playoff rankings, all right?
Okay.
All right, so this is the playoff tree, as you can see on the right. And, I got Ohio State at the number 2 spot. I got Clemson at the number 3 spot. I got LSU at the 6th spot. And a lot of people talking about LSU potentially being the number 2 team. I want to hear from you in the comment box. Who are your top 4 teams right now in college football? I want to see what you have to say. And could you imagine the scenario like this? If Alabama was to be undefeated and LSU was just to be a one-loss team, would the seeding committee take LSU with just a one loss into the playoffs, or would they take a undefeated Oklahoma? Right? I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comment box what you think. I want to know your college football top 4 going in. On the line, we got DJ from Ohio. Go DJ, go DJ. What's up, man? How you been, man?
Hey, how you been? I've been good.
Oh, it's good to hear from you, man. So, what were your thoughts yesterday? After watching Alabama and Nick Saban put away Jimbo Fisher at Kyle Field.
It was a really good game. I think they did a lot of good things. I was really impressed with the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the offensive line we'll see the rest of the year with Dickerson at center and with Brown being back.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they got a really good push on them guys.
Yeah, I think you bring up a really great point, DJ, is the fact that the offensive line, and I mentioned this in my 10 takeaways, which you can read on BamaInsider.com, that the offensive line played their best, I thought, all season long. I mean, Landon Dickerson at the center spot, who took over for Chris Owens, who was injured, I thought played a great game. Tua even said after the game that he did very well, making calls, doing things to protect him. And I thought Deontay Brown, he played very well. And one of the things that Nick Saban mentioned, that Deontay Brown has to be in shape in order to play. Well, guess how many reps he played yesterday? 67 plays, and I thought he did a really great job. So let's look at the offensive line. You have at the tackle position, you have Leatherwood, you have Evan Neal, you have Landon Dickerson, you have Deontay Brown, and you have Jedrick Wills. That, no doubt, is Alabama's best set of 5 linemen. So Alabama finally finds their set of 5 up front. Alabama finds their pass rush. Perfect time to do that with the daunting back-end schedule that Alabama has.
Oh, yeah. I think that would be, especially Christian Barmore, able to get a rush with just 3 people. That would be big time, and that would really help us out during the year.
Yeah, Christian Barmore, I mean, we've talked about him more and more, and it's really quite amazing to see that he only played 16 snaps against Texas A&M. I mean, think about what he could do with 30 snaps. And I saw you mention this on the comment box, DJ. Would you like to see Barmore playing more than DJ Dell? Don't be afraid. Say it.
Oh, yeah. Well, they do different things. Like DJ Dale, he's probably better for the run, but when it comes to penetrating, you have to take Barmore. He's just so explosive. Like I said, if you watch both of them, they put DJ Dale in, just make him look sluggish compared to Barmore actually be moving and getting through the line and getting skinny. So, yeah, he brings a lot to the table.
Yeah, I think he does, and I think it's important that, you know, Barmore plays more, but I think it's also important that Alabama continues to build that quality depth. You know, what Nick Saban's done over the past couple weeks, he's played Justin Ebogbe, he's played Byron Young, he's playing Christian Barmore, and he's playing these younger guys, which I think is important not only for this season but for next season, because you want to continue to build that depth for the following years, because as you know, Raekwon Davis is going to exit out, and then you're going to have to, you know, facilitate new guys to step up and jump in. And Christian Barmore is a name we should hear more and more. He even tweeted today. He's like, you know, something along the lines that he's a beast, and rightfully so. I think he's playing angry, and Alabama needs more defensive linemen like him. What else stood out, man? We're talking about Dave from Louisiana said that Tua and Jerry Jeudy kind of got into it a little bit. Were you surprised to see those two jarring a little bit?
Not really, because when you competitors, stuff like that happen. So that happened in the championship game with Adrian McCann in the center. They got into it, but you know, they both probably saw different things. I don't really think that's nothing to even talk about. I think they sell it on the sideline, and people kind of like blowing it out of proportion.
Thank you, DJ. That's exactly how I feel. Hey, if you've ever played sports before and you're not on your teammate and you guys don't have a disagreement, you're not a competitor. You've never been on a team before. You want the ball, and when there's a lack of communication, especially like those guys probably by now already have mental telepathy, right? They know exactly what they're gonna do. So when they were off, they were probably like, "What's going on?" They're up in their face. So yeah, you're right. Let's move on from that, because that's a non-factor. I wanted to update everyone. I've been getting a lot of questions on Devontae Smith and if he will be eligible for Tennessee. Nick Saban said following the game, the way the procedure works is the SEC office will look at the incident with Devontae Smith and Texas A&M defender who, you know, they got into the scuffle after late in the game. He was ejected, so it'll be up to the SEC officials to kind of figure out what happens. And worst case is Devontae Smith misses the first half against Tennessee. Detrimental, no, but you know, it's a big blow because Devontae Smith's second leading wide receiver at Alabama. Anything else, DJ, while you're on the show, man? Anything else that stood out to you?
The only concern I have is the depth behind middle linebackers.
Yep.
Because a lot of people, they complain about the freshman linebackers, but the reason they started because they better than the other guys. Mm-hmm. Because Bitson got in the game and act like he was just lost. So I hope those two freshmen stay healthy throughout the year.
Yeah, I think you're right, DJ. I mean, at times Christian Harris looked lost, and then they subbed in Markel Benton. He looked lost too. So you're like, yikes. One guy that I thought did great, outside linebacker, and he put a hit on Kellen Mond. I mean, he buried him right into the grass. Was Chris Allen. I don't think we've talked enough about him. I mean, I wonder if you could put Chris Allen at the inside linebacker position, have Anthony Jennings, Terrell Lewis, and Shane Lee. Am I making sense? Does that sound good? Sounds good to me. I mean,
don't sound too bad.
Right? I mean, and think about this. Chris Allen has played inside linebacker before. I mean, I'm no defensive coordinator. Pete Golden knows way more than me. I'm just saying that could look nice.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Well, DJ,
that's all I had. You take care. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you so much, DJ. DJ in Ohio. Always bringing in the good energy. I appreciate it. Please call again in next time, DJ. You know you always got a spot here at BamaInsider.com. Call line is open, 205-686-3604. I just thought that, Chris Allen was doing a great job. And, he's a guy that certainly like to see play more. Along with Jalen Waddle, I like to see him continue to get the football. I mean, how explosive is Jalen Waddle? Hey, how's it going? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson, who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is David. I don't know what happened earlier.
Oh,
I
dang,
guess
you're
I
back.
lost service.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
You're fine.
but now what I was trying to say was, the Tennessee gives Alabama a fit sometimes. From the field goal game. Whenever Terrence Cody blocked that field goal several years back, and I mean Alabama was ranked number 1 in the nation. And if they wouldn't have lost that game, it would have been, detrimental to, Alabama. But, I'm like I told you here a while back, I'm the only Alabama fan. I was born and bred in Alabama, and my family, and, all I hear is, Alabama plays cupcake teams and blah, 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 and this and that and the other, and LSU beat 2 ranked teams. Well, the 2 ranked teams that I've seen, Florida was probably the better out of the 2 that they played. I'm not knocking Texas, but Texas, I mean, their defenses, them defenses from over there, they're not that great. But, Florida had a top 20 ranked defense in the nation. Offensively, they're ranked like 40-something or whatever, and they gave LSU a back-and-forth game. I mean, South Carolina beat Georgia at home at Georgia, and we destroyed South Carolina. I mean, just like Nick Saban says, it doesn't matter where you rank. It matters how you finish and where you finish.
Absolutely.
And it's just like I tell them all the time, well, you living in the past. I said, well, it don't matter because Bama seems to always make it to the college football playoff or the national championship, But, as far like I was listening to you a while ago about the linebacker situation. I agree with you. Maybe do a little tweaking, put somebody here, put somebody there, on these goal line stances like we did last year. We put in some big defensive tackles or offensive linemen for a fullback, to lead the charge to the end zone, Maybe start pulling some of them tricks out. But like Saban said in his press conference, we are not changing the way the offense is ran. I think he pretty much trusts Sark, to run the offense. He comes from the pros. He's taking that Atlanta style of offense, and it's going to be an interesting game when Alabama and LSU play. You got that Brady guy with the Saints style offense, and then you have the Sarkisian with his Atlanta style offense, and it's going to be a knockdown drag out, and the winner of that game is going to be the defense that can shut down an offense a couple of times, Hopefully Alabama can force several punts and get the ball and, just keep LSU in check. I'm really anticipating that game. I know we don't supposed to get ahead of ourselves, but that's my national championship, in my family. But I gotta have them bragging rights. You know what I mean? Come on, 9 more. 9, making 9 years. But I mean, I don't know how you feel about everything, but well, I kind of do. But I mean, one of the main things that gets me is if it comes down to field goals or anything. If we don't get our kicker, Riker, I think it's his last name, back in, we're going to be in, this bowl of us. I just don't trust him at all. He every time I see him come on the field, my heart just stops. I'm to the point of heart attacks.
All right, David. David, I got to run to the next call, but thank you so much for calling in again. I appreciate it.
All right, brother.
All right, take it easy. That was David from Louisiana. I appreciate it. Thanks for calling in. And I think David brings up a great point in the fact that, if it comes down to a kicking shootout, it might as well be that. Could you imagine the nerves of Alabama Crimson Tide fans? I mean, every time Alabama kicks a PAT, I mean, you can't even tweet the score before the PAT has literally gone through the uprights with this team. I mean, there was a blocked PAT in this last game. However, Joseph Bolivas was 2 for 2. Call-in line is open, 205-686-3604. Joseph Bolivas, I mean, yeah, he's serviceable. Will Reichert, he's come back. I mean, it's not like he's automatic either. I think he's only 57%. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson, who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling from?
What's going on, Kyle? This is Jerry from Buffalo. How are you doing?
Hey, good to hear from you, man. I was waiting for you to call in, man. So, break it down for this Alabama Texas A&M game. I mean, what were your takeaways, Jack?
I love the pass rush. Love the pass rushing unit. One of the things that really impressed me was the depth we had to get after the quarterback. I saw Darian Mathis get after the quarterback a little bit. I saw Christian Barmore exploding into the quarterback. Chris Allen was getting to the quarterback. Jennings was getting to the quarterback. We had just a bunch of guys getting to the quarterback. Now, it wasn't perfect because late in the third quarter, we started to lose containment in the inside and allowed Kellerman to get some success. But overall wise, I saw improvement. We gave up 28 points, but I saw improvement for the defense because November 9th, we all know, November 9th, as we all know, LSU, you can't put a pass rush on them. They're going to carve you up. You don't ask them. Ask Florida when they lost Zuniga and Grignard. They had no pass rush, and they got carved up. So I loved that. Offensively, this wasn't Tua's best game. There was a lot of miscommunication, some throws that, if it was a millisecond a little bit sooner, would have been completed. But overall-wise, I think overall-wise is going to get better. Tua's got to get better at reading disguise coverages. We've been talking about that all year, and that's been a huge issue for Tua is reading disguise coverages. It's hard, especially when you want to throw it there because he's open, but he's not reading the safety's eyes. He's just directly staring at it. He's got to get better at that because we all know that's how Georgia and Clemson was able to have success on him. But overall wise, I loved it. The pass protection, Jesus, this was the best pass protection I've seen all year round. They touched to him, I think, like maybe once. I think they got to him like one time. But, the pass protection was really, really phenomenal against a pretty good Texas A&M front seven as well. So the running game was great. I felt like overall-wise, this was the most improved game I thought Alabama has played this year, and that's very, very good to see.
Yeah, I think so, and I think you bring up a good point. And while you get to this next subject, I'm going to ask you about. I'm going to bring up. Everyone's asking me about the Pro Football Focus grades, so I'll drop them. You guys are going to be upset when I drop these grades, but I'm gonna work on them. So, Jarek, while I do this, let's talk about. Can you talk about Najee Harris and Brian Robinson? I mean, Najee. This is the first time Najee Harris. Or the second time, actually, that he hit the 100-yard mark. I thought he played well. I thought Brian Robinson played well. He had over 50 yards. Brian Robinson, as you can see, is going to be the highest-graded player on Pro Football Focus. What was your takeaway from the running game, and how would you like to see Alabama continue to use B-Rob and Najee Harris?
Najee Harris and Brian Robinson did, at least for Najee, he did something that I've been begging this dude to do. I've been begging for him to do this for 2 years now. Just go, right? Just don't try to be shifty all the time like you live with Sean McCoy. Sometimes you see a hole, you hit it. You see it, you hit it, and you use that 240-pound frame to your advantage. He was trucking dudes, running over guys. The holes was clearing up. Deontay Brown and Evan Neal did a great job at the guard position, opening up those holes. Landon Dickerson held his own. And Brian Robinson, Najee Harris, those guys got going, and that's what we need to see. We need to have more balance in the running game. So I hope for Najee Harris he can continue to be that way and also be effective in the passing game as well. But yes, this was the best game I've seen from Najee Harris and Brian Robinson so far. I love it, and seeing Deontay Brown with the 60-plus snaps, and he didn't have the greatest game in the world, but overall-wise, I felt like it was a good start for him, at least to get back to form from what he was last year. But, I love the starting line. I love the starting lineup more than I liked when Chris Owens was there. I think you might have to go with this.
Yeah, I think you're right. When you look at this offensive line, I think they played fantastic. I think, very, very talented group all the way around. I think what we continue to see from Landon Dickerson has been nothing but progress. I think the first time he played center a couple weeks ago, it wasn't where it needed to be, but I think against Texas A&M in a game that really had something on the line, I think he did a great job. And I think honestly, Chris Owens probably lost his spot. I'll be interested to see if he comes back and starts over Dickerson. I'm not sure how he can, especially with Deontay Brown playing so well. yesterday and playing 67 snaps. I think that's Alabama's best line. I think that's why you saw over 150 tough yards gained from Alabama's running backs. I think that's why you saw Tua upright. I know A&M got to him late a couple times, and hey, that's the SEC play. But I think overall, that's your best 5 linemen. I think that's so important. So yesterday, what we learned is the fact that Alabama has their best 5 offensive linemen, and that the Alabama pass rush is back. So those 2 focal points, the biggest news for the Crimson Tide going forward, right?
I will say this: Terrell Lewis and Anthony Jennings can't get hurt. They can't get hurt, because if they get hurt, it's going to change the entire complexion of the pass. Then it's going to change the entire complexion of the pass rushing unit. Those two guys have got to stay healthy. They got to stay healthy. But yes, besides that, this was the best pass rushing unit I definitely think that we've seen. Just seeing those 2 guys get constant pressure, but just like you saw from Zanita and Grinyard, you lose those two guys that change the dynamic of your defense simply just by rushing the quarterback. You saw how Florida, who led the team in the country, had 0 sacks because those two guys wasn't healthy, and there wasn't anybody that could free them up and that weren't dynamic enough to get after the quarterback. I just want to say this, though, Kyle. I really like Christian Harris's game. I felt he improved. He improved a lot, at least against the run. Passing coverage, coverage-wise, he needs to get better at it. But I love that Christian Harris was all the field when, especially when it came to stopping the run. One of my favorite plays was the fact that he reacted, closed, knifed up a gap off of the B gap, and even though he didn't make the tackle, he damn near made the play because it stopped Spiller. He got stuffed up because of Harris, and it rounded it off. Shaheem Carter went in there, forced the turnover. Christian Harris made that play, and that's what I like to see more. He engaged blockers, quickly shut them off. His read and react was phenomenal. He trusted his instincts, and the last 3 games I have seen improvement for Christian Harris. Shane Lee, no, I haven't seen improvement for him. I think that I don't know when can we see that game for him that I can go on and feel better about. But Christian Harris, I've seen improvement. I've seen significant improvement for him for the last 3 weeks, and that's very, very promising.
Let me back up what you just said with the Pro Football Focus defensive grades. So now you're going to see the Pro Football defensive grades on the screen at the top. Surprise, surprise. Christian Barmore, only 16 snaps, grade out of 85.5. Below him, Shaheem Carter, 80.3. Raekwon Davis, 78.5. Christian Harris, as you said, Jarek, he played well, 74.4. That's a good grade. And Pro Football Focus, these guys don't care who these players are from. It's not Alabama. They're not Alabama fans. They're not LSU fans. These are former scouts. These are former coaches. These grade these guys meticulously on every single thing that they do. The star indicates that the player started. Terrell Lewis, a grade of 74.2. Xavier McKinney, a grade of 72.1. So there are the grades for the defense. And I'll show you the offensive grades, which are tough. I sometimes I'll leave those defensive grades up just for a second, and you guys can go back and watch this. But I post all this stuff back at BamaInsider.com, so the premium subscribers can cruise through this information if you want to see it more in detail. But those are the grades real quick that I just wanted to show because I think it paints a better picture to what Jarek was talking about. The fact that Christian Harris did play great. Christian Barmore, we talked about him earlier. The fact, look at it, only 16 plays. So, it's a small sample size, but I think we all can agree that Christian Barmore should be playing a little bit more than 16 plays. Jarek, I got to run to the next call, but I appreciate everything you always bring to the show. Great stuff on the defensive side of the ball. Let's definitely wrap Thursday night, if you can, from Voodoo Wings as we prepare for Alabama and Tennessee. But thank you so much for calling in.
Yep, as always.
All right, take it easy, buddy.
All right, you too.
All right, great caller as always. That's Jarek from Buffalo. Call line is open 205-686-3604. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Be sure and check out Voodoo Wings. Voodoo Wings now open in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, located right off University. Grab your wings and enjoy college football. The wings, I'm serious. I'm not just saying this. The food at Voodoo Wings is fantastic. They got these fries that are just so fat and juicy. And Mike in Kentucky, what's going on? I was just giving Voodoo Wings a plug, man. How you doing? You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good, Carl. How you doing this weekend?
You having a strong and restful Sunday?
Well, I stayed pretty busy, but I got done what I needed to get done around the place. It's getting cold. I had to get some bedding for the chickens and just chores around the house.
Hey, that's Sunday sometimes. So what's on your mind following Alabama's victory over Texas A&M?
Well, it looks like we're starting to get some chemistry on the O-line, which is a good thing. We've been needing it. I agree with you. I think we got the best five out there for the time being. I think the D-line showed some grit that's been missing a little bit in the games prior to, Saturday. But the secondary, to me, oh, man, there was some miscues in the secondary, playing against a better quarterback. I think Diggs would have given up 2 scores. He completely blew 2 coverages. And Maiden just seems to be, I don't know, a day late and a dollar short. I mean, I guess he's trying the best he can. But overall, I think the team improved. The running game looks better. I think we finally had our first 100-yard rushing performance of the season.
Yeah, it was a second time, but yeah, I mean, Najee Harris had rushed for 100 yards earlier this season and then ran for over 100 yards. But I agree. It seemed like the running game was there, and that could be because the offensive line was there, just like you said in the earlier point. I mean, you have Dickerson, you have Evan Neal, you have Deontay Brown. Those are some big boys paving the way for lanes to be open, for offensive linemen to be getting to that second area to be holding their block. So I'm curious to see after Nick Saban has watched film, because he can't really, he doesn't have an opportunity to watch the offensive line. It's too difficult during the game. He doesn't have the best vantage point. So he likes to watch the offensive line. I'll be curious what he has to say about that offensive unit, and if it stays the same going into Tennessee. I imagine it would. I'd be shocked if it didn't.
Yeah, I think he's got the right five out there right now. They look pretty good against the run. The running game's starting to take shape, and we've been kind of needing that.
Mm-hmm. So Mike, when you look at the best 4 in college football, who are your best 4 today? Best 4 teams.
Well, my best 4 teams right now: Bama, Ohio State. You can't throw Clemson out till they leave. You just can't. I mean, any just proven that anybody can have a bad day.
Yeah.
Clemson almost had one. But I think they're still a very talented football team. Dabo Swinney's been recruiting at a high level, and they got like 8 5-stars coming in next year in their class. So Clemson's not going anywhere.
Yeah, you're right. Their recruiting class is legit.
Yeah, they're ridiculous this year in recruiting. I'd be surprised if we even pass them for number 1. They were looking like the number 1 class for 2020, but I'm happy with who we've got. Trust me. And if Oklahoma wins the Big 12 and goes undefeated, I mean, you can't deny that team. I know LSU's good, but if we beat them once, why should we have to beat them again? That's the way I feel about it. I'd say Oklahoma, Ohio State, Alabama, and Clemson. But you never know.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Let me. This is for everybody in the comment box. If LSU was to lose one game, or if Alabama was to lose one game, would a 1-loss Alabama team be taken over an undefeated Oklahoma team? And the same question for LSU. Would a 1-loss LSU team get in the playoffs over an unbeaten Oklahoma team? Let me know, because it doesn't look like Oklahoma. I mean, you look at their schedule. I think if they stay healthy, I mean, the rest of the season, I mean, they don't play. I mean, their schedule is very favorable. Same with Clemson. I think Clemson and Oklahoma have high favorabilities to win the rest of their games. I think it's teams like Ohio State, who still has to play Wisconsin, Michigan, Penn State. I mean, those are some tough opponents for Ohio State. Alabama still has to play Auburn. They still have to play LSU. Still have to play Tennessee, Arkansas. Those should be winnable games. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment box. Mike, I think that what about Wisconsin? I don't know if you follow too much outside of the SEC, but Wisconsin has shut out 4 of their 6 opponents this year. Nobody's talking about them. At what point do we take them serious?
Wisconsin, I take them serious as of about 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I've watched a couple of their games, bro. Yeah. They're big and nasty on both sides of the line of scrimmage, and they're kind of a typical 4 yards in the cloud of dust, kind of Big Ten style team. But I don't know where they come up with their running backs. They get nuclear running backs every year. It just seems like from Deron Payne on down. I don't know where they get those cats, but man, they come up with great running backs.
Yeah.
And their quarterback's serviceable. They're a tough nut to crack. I think I don't think go to Columbus. I think Ohio State probably edge them in Columbus, but they better bring their A game. Wisconsin's been looking good since about second game of the season. I've been watching a couple of their games. I'm up here kind of close to Big Ten territory up here in northern Kentucky, so I catch them occasionally.
Yeah, I just saw
I don't know, as far as taking a one defeated second banana SEC team over an undefeated Oklahoma team. I don't think it's right, Kyle. Even if it was Bama, even if Bama drops one to LSU, if I don't know. It's just, I'm for Bama and all, but if we get beat at home, that's a black mark, that's a bad mark on your on your resume. If they beat us at home, I don't know.
Yeah, but then again,
Jalen keeps balling out.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, here's my dream scenario, okay? And this is just strictly for ratings, okay? This is just for ratings. I can't even imagine the storyline. By the way, I just saw my good friend Daryl Puckett just joined on the call-in show. What's up, Daryl? Thanks for the support, man. I see you out there. Thank you so much. This is my dream scenario, okay? Alabama goes undefeated. Oklahoma goes undefeated. Oklahoma gets that 4 spot. Alabama gets that 1 spot. Can you imagine if undefeated Oklahoma, plays Alabama at that 1-4 game in Atlanta, Georgia? Jalen Hurts playing Tua Tagovailoa in the Mercedes Stadium, where everything went down to begin with. That's where Jalen lost his job. Can you imagine the electricity in that stadium? This is more rat poison onto the fire, but I can't even imagine if those two go head to head. It would be those tickets. You couldn't even buy a ticket to that game. And I think
that's a pretty interesting narrative for sure.
That's what I'm saying. And I think it could set up that well. I think Alabama has enough offense to stay number 1. I think they're going to beat LSU. I think they're going to beat Tennessee. I think they're going to beat Arkansas. I think who's going to beat Oklahoma? And is Oklahoma going to jump Clemson in those final rankings? Are they going to jump the Big Ten champ? Is there going to be someone else that can jump Oklahoma? No. I'm not sure. But my question is, does a 1-loss SEC team get in over an undefeated Oklahoma team? I'm not so sure that is the case.
Yeah, I think if Oklahoma goes undefeated, I think they're in. To tell you the truth, I think they play a better schedule than Clemson.
Yeah.
I really do. They play a lot more high-powered. They play that air raid crazy, basketball scores every other game on offense out there in that conference.
Man, if
Clemson defense is looking a lot better than last year.
If Clemson would have just lost, if Mac Brown would have decided just to throw the ball with Sam Howell on that 2-point conversion instead of that stupid option play or whatever they did, then Clemson wouldn't. They'd be out, and then we would. There's no way that Clemson would be back into the College World Playoffs. But I got to run, Mike. But thank you so much for calling in. I always appreciate that you call in on the call-in show.
All right, thank you.
Take it easy, buddy. All right, you too, buddy. All right, that's Mike in Kentucky. One of our normal callers calling in. Always appreciate catching up with Mike. Great energy. The usual callers, the thing that sets you up is the energy. You bring the positive energy. You talk college football. I appreciate that. That's good people. Call-in line is open. 205-686-3604 is the number to call. Call-in show is powered by Voodoo Wings, now open in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Try them out. The wings are delicious. The fries are fat. The bread pudding is unbelievable. The sides are exquisite. So tell them Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com sent you. I would appreciate that. They got a wide variety of drinks. Go check them out. We got another call-in. Hey, what's going on? Good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. I appreciate you calling in. Who I'm on the line with and where are you calling from?
My name is Davis. I'm calling from the great state of Alabama.
How you doing, David? Good to hear from you. How's your Sunday going?
My Sunday is beautiful. I would like to talk about the defense.
All right, let's do it. What's on your mind?
I love LeBron Ray.
LeBron Ray has, he's a good player. He's played one time. What do you like about LeBron Ray? All right, did that call not sound sketch? Come on, don't call and be strange. All right, 205-686-3604. Give me another call. I appreciate it. I'll keep the call line open as long as you guys want. We can talk college football all night long if you want. So 205-686-3604 is the number to call in, and I'd appreciate you guys calling in and catching up with me. And this week, to give you the schedule rundown for Tennessee week, you got Monday, Nick Saban's press conference. That'll be carried right here on our YouTube channel. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson, who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Yes, this is Lenny from L.A.
Hey, what's up, Lenny? How you doing, man?
Hey, how you doing? Hey, listen, all right, but once he came back into the game, then you saw him running straight ahead, making 1 and 2, make a side cut to the right or a side cut to the left. But this thing about him, and notice something else. When he tries to cut, he often chops his feet. He takes 2 or 3 chop steps before he makes a cut.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like DeAndre Swift, you can plant that foot in the ground and make one cut and go the opposite direction. I'm an ex-running back. I know this.
Mm-hmm.
All right? But I'm telling you, when he came back into the game, then he had a new attitude, which I was happy to see. And I've been saying all along, you are not that kind of running back. Run the way God made you. Mm-hmm. You're not a Barry Sanders. That's not you. But God did make you a Glenn Coffey. If you look at him, when he does run right, he runs just like Glenn Coffey, hard and tough and straight ahead. All right? That's one thing I wanted to get off my chest. Now, I'm happy. What's the defensive end, number 24? What's his name? I forget his name.
The outside linebacker, his name is Terrell Lewis.
Terrell Lewis, yeah. Hey, brother, I'm happy you're happy. But, man, if you want to stay, I'm happy you're healthy. But if you want to stay healthy, wear some pads.
Yeah, he doesn't have any pads on his legs.
Yeah, wear some pads, okay? And you're going to stay healthy longer. I know you have this Adonis God-like body. The CBS commentator, he so much has said, so I know you want to show it off. But you're not going to be able to show it off, kid, if you don't protect yourself. Wear some pads.
Yeah, he definitely needs some pads. I would certainly agree with you. What did you think about his play getting to the quarterback? Did you like what you saw from him in terms of a talent standpoint?
No, nothing wrong with his skill set. Nothing wrong with that. I just want to see him wear some pads because the caller who called before is right. Okay, if either one of these guys get hurt, he or Jennings, then the defense is going to be hurt again. Mm-hmm. So they can't afford to get hurt. I like Jennings; he wears pads. Mm-hmm. Okay, but I like Terrell Lewis. But I'm telling you, brother, protect yourself. Then you can play with even much more confidence.
Now,
all right.
Now, tell me this. Now, when you look at Tua Tagovailoa, are you appreciating what is going on right now from an overall perspective? Because I don't think we're ever going to see another quarterback come through Tuscaloosa that can deliver the football with the poise that Tua Tagovailoa does. I know a lot of it, a lot of it is the receivers, a lot of that is Tua, but, what he's doing from an overall perspective, this is historical stuff that we're watching weekly.
I agree 1,000%. And also what I will say is, now we may see it again. Because if you notice, if you look at something called the 100th monkey effect, anytime one thing is done, you have other people who want to replicate that same thing. Now, the only person who could come close, he will challenge himself just by the nature of his DNA, and that's his little brother. Yep. He may want to do more than Tua ever did, and we may see it again. But you're right; this is a once-in-a-lifetime talent. A lot of people weren't around to see Muhammad Ali in his heyday. Mm-hmm. I was. Mm-hmm. I tell the people who didn't see it, you will never see anything like that again. Yep. Okay, Tiger Woods. Okay, for what he was, Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing comes. You're right. Maybe once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you happen to live 100 years, you may see it.
Yep.
All right, but you're 100% right. Now, like I said, the only thing that I could see is the younger brother may want to emulate his brother enough. Because if you notice, since Odell Beckham made a one-handed catch, every receiver from high school to podunk to wherever is trying to make a one-handed catch. That's the 100 monkey effect. People want to emulate what they see. Now, but if his brother wants to do as good as Tua, if he wants people to admire him, he's going to do everything he will give it his best. Now, whether the DNA, whether he was blessed with that DNA, I don't know, but we will see. That's the best opportunity for us to see it again.
Now, this is the thing that I've found, and I've covered sports for a long time. I've covered football for a long time. the younger brother, and I know Tua has set the bar extremely high, and I mean, you're probably not going to agree with this, a lot of you out there. The younger brother, they're usually better athletes for whatever reason, and I think it's because the bar is set, so the younger brother has to go out and get it and prove himself. I don't know how good Talia is going to be when he comes to Alabama next. I mean, he's already here, but when he's really fighting for a spot to take over the starting quarterback position, I'm curious. I know a lot of you have mentioned, and you out there living in LA would know about Bryce Young being out there. I mean, he's a very talented quarterback that's going to come in next year. So you're going to have this quarterback room. Bryce Young coming in as a highly talented quarterback from the California area. You're going to have Mac Jones. Who Nick Saban has liked as the number 2 quarterback. You now have Talia Tagovailoa, and then there's a quarterback that we haven't talked about. That's Paul Tyson. He's a big pro-style quarterback. I'm curious to see what happens in the quarterback room next year for the Alabama Crimson Tide. You got to think whoever doesn't win that spot, there could be a couple transfers in that quarterback room. I'm kind of curious to see who it will be.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be what's Tua's brother's name? What's his name?
Talia.
I don't think it'll be him. I like the fact that, and I, living out here in California, I know a lot of Samoans, and they're very traditional. Mm-hmm. Okay, their word normally is their bond, unless you break it with them. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so I think he's going to stay there and stick it out. Now, what I do like about Saban, and what I love what he did for Jalen Hurts, is that Saban is loyal. If you've been loyal to him, he's going to be loyal to you. So Mac Jones. Mm-hmm. Probably will be up in his senior year to have a chance to lead that team unless he screws it up. Mm-hmm. All right, he's paid his dues, and that's the problem we have in society right now. People don't want to stick around long enough to pay their dues, and when they paid their dues, we got people that don't want to pay them off. Yep. All right, but that being said, I think that because Mac Jones is ahead of everybody else, and he stayed there and he stood the test of time, he will get his chance to lead that team. Yeah. Until he proves he can't lead it anymore, then Saban will look for who can do that. So I think we're going to be safe with that, and then we'll have Talia. Mm-hmm. We'll have Talia, and that will be great. And then I think it's going to be a battle between Paul Tyson, and that new kid from out here.
Bryce Young.
All right?
Bryce Young.
Yeah, Bryce Young. So, but right now, I think Paul Tyson, being the fact that he's Bear Bryant's grandson, I think he want to stick it out. I think he want to stick it out to his senior year. But Saban, what I do like, he's going to play the best. Okay, it's about winning, and really that's what it's all about. But I've been watching you for a year or so now, man, and never wanted to call in, but I was just so ticked off with Brian Robertson. There's nothing wrong with him. Mm-hmm. It's just that understand the nature in which you were created.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you're created, okay, to be somewhere between a Mack truck hybrid and a sports SUV. That's fine, but you're not a Porsche Panorama.
You're right.
Okay, understand that. Okay, understand the nature of yourself. Once you get the nature of yourself down, you can never get it wrong. But if he looks at the tape of Glenn Coffey, the hard-nosed runner, and you don't need but one. You need one cut to go to the left and one to go to the right. But when you find yourself chopping 3 and 4 steps just to make a cut, you're not that kind of running back.
Yep. Yeah. Well, tell me this.
Go ahead, sorry.
I want you to call in again because I appreciate the call. I think you brought a lot of validity with your comments. So call again. I know you've been watching. I appreciate the support. I don't know if you knew this, but I used to live in Los Angeles myself. I lived in Redondo Beach. I used to work in Torrance, so I definitely got love for the state of Cali. And right now, Alabama definitely treated me good. But thank you so much for calling.
Boy, let me say something real quick. You don't know I was born and raised in Alabama.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, we switched.
Well, no, I'm switching back.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
As soon as I can get home, I'm gonna get home. But the point is that let me tell you something. I wore a hat the other day to a play.
Okay.
And all I had was a white hat with a red elephant on it. And out of the entire all the people at the play, only one person was able to recognize that. And as I was leaving the play, I heard someone say "Roll Tide." That's the kind of respect.
Yep.
That's the kind of respect. So, hey, brother, I appreciate you for taking my call.
All right. Be safe on your travels back to Alabama.
All right.
All right. Take it easy, man. All right. Great calling. That was a new caller out from California. I appreciate it. Calling line is open 205-686-3604. I got a call. Hello. Good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with and where you calling from?
Robert from Mobile.
Hey, Robert. Good to hear from you. I mean, we've had a good show. I mean, and thanks for calling in. I know you like to call in. So, first of all, how was your Sunday?
Oh, just fine. My Steelers are actually playing football today.
So, what's on your mind following this Alabama victory over Texas A&M? I mean, there was a big one who fell on Saturday. That was Georgia. Were you shocked by the Bulldogs going down to the Gamecocks?
Oh, there's no question about it. Boy, Georgia's in serious trouble of not having a usual date with Alabama at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Florida's no joke this season. Then they can. It's a neutral site, and they're playing well. Georgia and Florida can pull that game out. In which case, Georgia will be out of the playoff and the SEC championship game. So that's I would say this season it's getting real now in October. We knew that. But yeah, the defense played better. They still gave up the usual garbage touchdowns in the end that drives us all crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we just have to resign that it is what it is. That we're going to have to, the offense is going to have to put up 40 points against everybody, and that's just how it is. Of course, LSU, of course, is the number one threat, I believe, to Alabama and the entire nation right now. Burrows is playing at a Heisman level, and I still believe the Heisman is coming down to Tua and Joe Burrows.
Wow.
And yeah, I believe it's going to come out of those two guys. Jalen just doesn't have the games on the schedule that will be that of a Heisman marquee level.
Yeah, but I think I kind of disagree with that because his overall story and the fact that he continues to, I mean, his numbers are huge. I know the competition is strong, but his numbers, I mean, isn't the Heisman Trophy just about numbers? It's kind of just like a popularity thing based on the numbers too. And plus he's a great guy. I mean, who doesn't like Jalen Hurts? I know I have a ton of respect for him.
Well, Jalen and Burrows' numbers are even better than his, and they'll have the bigger games.
That's true. They'll be under the bigger spotlight. Yeah, that could be it.
Yeah, I mean, they have the two huge games left, the one against each other. I disagree with your picks for the playoffs. You talking about the first meeting of the playoffs? Is that what you talking about?
Yeah.
Meeting of the playoff committee?
Mm-hmm.
I think LSU will be the number one team when the committee finally meets. LSU's already number two in the AP poll. Mm-hmm. They've jumped that high. They're number two in the AP poll. Given their body of work at LSU, if they win out and if they're undefeated when the playoff committee meets, LSU will be the number one team. Alabama will probably be two.
Mm-hmm.
It will probably be number two. Then you have number one versus number two. After the first meeting of the playoff committee, that game will just be mentally high and hyped.
Yep.
The winner of that game, as well, will have to. The quarterback's going to have an excellent game for either team to win.
Yep.
I mean, there's no way that they're going to win. Both the quarterbacks playing mediocre. One of those two quarterbacks is going to have a lights out game in that meeting. That would trump anything Jalen can hope to try to do for the rest of the season. I mean, Oklahoma State. Who's going to care about Oklahoma State if Jalen trumps them or Baylor or TCU? No one's going to care.
Yeah.
So it'll come down to those two guys, and there's Tua or Burrows. And they'll have the SEC championship game, which will be another huge, which could be a game that's even bigger than any other game, championship game of the season also. They ball out the rest of the season. The Heisman is theirs, whichever one does it. And we're all rooting for Tua, of course. I'm glad that game's in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, I think everyone is. I mean, with the talent explosion that LSU has had this year, I mean, that game, I mean, we all keep talking about that game. It's several weeks away still. But you're right. I think, Joe Burrow is playing at a very high level. He's playing at a Heisman level. Him, Jalen Hurts, and Tua Tagovailoa probably right now the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman Trophy level. I think the thing with Oklahoma is they have CeeDee Lamb. They have a couple other guys, Jalen Hurts. Tua Tagovailoa has, all these guys for Alabama to help him out. But I think Joe Burrow and his receiving core, those guys, I don't know all their names for LSU, but those guys are very talented. They got a very talented, I think that their receiving core is just as talented as Alabama's, maybe just a step behind, but I think that says a lot. And I think that their running backs, I said this earlier in the show, I think their running backs hit the hole harder than Alabama's running backs. And I think their offensive line is good. I think their secondary, they're LSU. No doubt, they're the real deal. I think they're number 2 in the AP poll today. So I definitely, who disagrees with this? Isn't LSU better than Clemson? Absolutely,
yeah.
Right? Come on.
Right.
It's not. I think absolutely. I think Clemson is playing a little bit better. But against Florida State, what can we learn from that? Florida State, poor Florida State, they just got completely processed. What else is on your mind, Robert? The pass rush is back. The offensive line looked good. What else is on your mind?
Well, yeah, and of course, in the running game, Najee and Robinson are just creeping up slowly, but they got off to a slow start. But there was a lot of positives in the running game Saturday. That I saw some tough runs out of both Najee and Brian Robinson in that game. That is very encouraging. And like you guys said about the offensive line, they played better, so it looks like we're creeping up to getting to the offensive line is starting to improve, and Cordell to trounce for Tennessee. Going back to what you said about Clemson, yeah, because Clemson sucked so bad at the beginning of the season, they're going to have to cover every spread down the stretch,
yeah.
and brutalize the rest of the ACC opponent. They got lucky with Georgia losing. That drops a potential one-loss team. That if Georgia played well, that Clemson will have to worry about. So that will help Clemson get into the playoffs. But you were right. If Clemson loses the game, and South Carolina, if they get their quarterback back, which hopefully they will, their starting quarterback, South Carolina can give Clemson some trouble. If that game's in South Carolina, Clemson will be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
So the SEC is, we're starting to get our respect back as the best conference with the way some of these teams have been playing of late. But yeah, I think Florida can because maybe stealing it from Georgia, because they're going to be on the neutral side. And Trask played well yesterday against LSU, which amazingly, but Burroughs is just playing on a Heisman level. But Jake Fromm is not playing on a high level.
No,
so that definitely gives Florida.
Yeah, we've never really seen the season, that we expected from Jake Fromm. He's played average. He didn't play very well. Played terrible actually against South Carolina. I kind of expected more from him. Georgia fans are probably like, man, we had Justin Fields. This is who we chose over Justin Fields. Meanwhile, Justin Fields up in Ohio State balling out. What do you think about Ohio State? I don't know if you watch them. We've talked about Wisconsin. Everyone has respect for Wisconsin, their defense. What about Ohio State? Do you think they're a team that is, capable of running this whole thing?
Well, they're capable, but what seems most likely that I fear the most is LSU. I literally fear LSU for Alabama. Ohio State and Clemson, I'm not afraid of them. Mm-hmm. If Tua plays, keeps on his level, I don't see them beating us if Tua keeps on his level. LSU's the only team that I can say that, hey, Joe Burrow can probably match Tua touchdown for touchdown. And it's which offense fails first. And I believe LSU could do that. But I don't think Clemson can match the Alabama touchdown. Let's put it away. If it turns out to be a shootout against Clemson or Ohio State, I believe Alabama wins. If it's a shootout between LSU could probably hit 50, and we're stuck at 48. That's what I'm afraid of with LSU. Because it's all these elite teams, of course, are capable of winning, but none of them make me afraid that if Alabama played its best, if the offense played its best, that we still couldn't lose anyway, except LSU. And that's the only one that got me. Our offense could play lights out and we could still lose. But if everybody else, our offense plays lights out, we're not going to lose. So it was again a great game. But like I said, the Heisman, I'm telling you, it's if that game with LSU and Alabama will just propel the winner to almost an unstoppable level. And so it would be Jalen towards interesting. And in that Texas game, Jalen was good, but it wasn't spectacular. That was his biggest game of the season he's going to have this season. And there wasn't anything spectacular, and it was just, good. But what do you think? But Burrows and Tua with that team, they would have been spectacular against Texas. And Jalen was just good.
No. And I mean, Jalen had 2 monumental turnovers in the first half of that big game. That everyone who was watching that game, he threw an interception that he shouldn't have thrown, and then he also didn't put the football on the other side of the hand, and he got it knocked out, which was another turnover. Theoretically, Oklahoma should have won that game maybe by 13 points, but those turnovers really cost them. Oklahoma's defense played well in that first half and eliminated Texas from capitalizing off those Jalen Hurts turnovers. But you're right. I mean, that was his first really big game, and didn't play the first half as we expected him to. But I got to run to the next call, Robert, but I appreciate you always calling in, man. Thank you so much.
All right, man.
All right, Robert from Mobile, Alabama. I appreciate it. Call line is still open, 205-686-3604. Take a couple more calls, as I always do at the end of the show. Thank you to our men and women in the United States military. Appreciate what you do for us. And always, I mean, be good people out there. I mean, it's not hard to do. Just be nice to each other. I think that's an understatement. And I really appreciate you giving me an opportunity to watch the show. And I really appreciate the opportunity to live here in the great state of Alabama. I mean, I think Alabama has been a fantastic place for the last 3 years. Never thought that I'd be even doing a call-in show, so I appreciate the support on the call-in show. I would really appreciate if you guys give us an opportunity to earn your business on BamaInsider.com. All you got to do is go to BamaInsider.com. Look for the free 30-day sign-up tab. Promo code at checkout is simply Roll Tide. That's one word. Got another caller coming in. I think that was a call that I disallowed earlier. But, yeah, I posted my college football playoff rankings earlier in the show, if you guys want to check those out. But I have it Alabama number 1. I have number 2. I have Clemson number 3. No, number 2 I had Ohio State. Number 3 I had Clemson. And then number 4 I had Oklahoma. I already talked about kind of my dream scenario with Jalen Hurts and Tua going at it. I'm not sure if that'll happen or not, but, I'd certainly like to see it. Yeah, maybe that's a good spot, to end tonight. I think we've had a good show. I think we've had some great call-ins. And I think, I'm going to kind of toy with the idea of having the show right after the game. I know I'm not going to have it right after the Tennessee game because it's at 8 o'clock, so the game will be ending past midnight. I don't think anybody was going to want to be on the phone with me after midnight, and I don't think I want to be on the phone at midnight. So I will catch up with you guys again on Thursday from Voodoo Wings. Please call again. Please check out Voodoo Wings and tell them that I sent you. Kyle Henderson at BamaInsider.com. My email is kyle@BamaInsider.com. You can follow me on Twitter, rivals_Kyle. I appreciate all the support. Thank you very much for following all our coverage. Everything back on BamaInsider.com. Remember, Monday we got the Nick Saban press conference. We're speaking with Tua Tagovailoa and a couple of members of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Everything right here on the website back at BamaInsider.com. We also got the Tide tip-off. If you guys are interested in the new Alabama basketball coach, Nate Oates, and his squad, you get a taste of their talent this Friday night. I'll bring highlights right to the YouTube channel, so stick around for that. Got an action-packed week. Everything right here on BamaInsider.com. Thank you for subscribing. Please like and subscribe. We appreciate it. Be good people out there. Have a good evening. Have a strong week. Talk to you soon. Catch up with you guys back on BamaInsider.com.